So the cars coming out onto the circuit for the first race of the 29 season in the Tweeks Yokohama Low-Cost Championship, the 20th anniversary season for the Low-Cost, and as ever it is a huge field of cars that we have for you, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this season pans out, because we've got the reigning champion Mark Burton. Well, he is only 5th on the grid for this opening round of the 2019 campaign, but we've got Maurice Shepherd, who is on pole position for this race, and he'll be alongside Matt Groh. Josh, low-cost racing, for people who've perhaps not seen this before, can you explain what this is all about?
Lots of overtaking, I think, is the simple big slipstream. Got 1300cc Ford cross-flow engine, so not much power really, but the slipstream gives you such a big advantage if you're behind the car ahead. It means overtaking is, well, it's more than possible, but it's very, very likely as well. And here at Donington Park is a perfect place for that. It's just a sort of a slipstream in circuit all the way around, so expect lots of exciting racing, I think.
Let's tell you about the grid then. Pole position is number 2, Maurice Shepherd. Alongside him will be number 15, Matt Groh. The second row will be number 94, Martin West, who finally got that victory monkey off his back at Snetterton at the end of last year. And Tom Gadd next to him on row 2. Row 3, the reigning champion, number 1, Mark Burton. And number 6, Pete Hatfield, who's gone pretty well in qualifying. The fourth row, 48, Rob Fagg. And number 8, Sean Brame, a long-time stalwart of this championship. Carl Roysenars and Jack Johns make up row 5. Row 6 will be Tom Robinson, who's won low-cost races in the past, and Greg Smith, who won the opening round of the championship at Castle Combe last year and then didn't really do much more after that. Row 7, 43, David Mason, and 74, Gary Brandon. Row 8, 29, Jeff Peake, and 71, Jonathan Lister. The 9th row will be Jack Chapman, number 88, and 36, James Lewis Barnard. And row 10, 17, and 19, Hobie Rickerman and Daniel Garrett. And what we're seeing here, Josh, is that there were quite a lot of new names to the championship this year as well.
Absolutely. Some of the drivers have graduated into the Mazda Low-Cost Series within sports specials, while lots of stay. You get drivers that stay in the Low-Cost Championship year after year, and what we're seeing every year really is lots of new names coming in, sort of in the second half of the field. That's what we got. A lot of them are brand new to racing, others have come from other categories, but we're very shortly going to get underway in, because the green flag is waved at the rear of the field.
Yeah, 5-second board goes up then, so very shortly going to be underway. Again, it's going to be a 13-minute plus 1 lap race then, so you've got Maurice Shepherd in the ex-Ian Alley car on pole position, and alongside him Matt Groh. Red lights go on, and out they go, and it's a pretty good start from the second row cars actually. So it's Martin West, number 94, that goes between the 2 front row men and has the lead of the race. An excellent start from Martin West, and it looks like Peter Hatfield, number 6 from the 3rd row of the grid, has followed him through into second place as well. So some excellent starts, but not necessarily by the guys right at the front of the grid. It's Maurice Shepherd there in 3rd place. 4th looks to be Tom Gadd. 5th at the moment looks to be Carl Roysenars up from row 5, and Mark Burton, the reigning champion, has gone backwards.
Roysenars went round the outside of Tom Gadd and gets that another place up into 4th position. Look at the field though, absolutely brilliant. 40 cars in qualifying. That's not so brilliant. One of the SRB racing cars is pulled off at the end of the start. That's car number 79, which is who, man?
David Johns is the number 79 car. So there's the second place man. That's Pete Hatfield then, chasing after the race leader Martin West, who for so long, I think he got fed up of me saying he was always the bridesmaid in low-cost races, but he finally did get a win at the end, or 2 wins in fact, at the end of last season. We can see there some side-by-side action going on. It looks like Carl Roysenard might be about to lose a position here as they make their way down the exhibition straight.
Originally he was trying to challenge, wasn't he, get ahead of Maurice Shepherd. One of them goes off into the gravel, but yes, absolutely, Roysenard, as he tried to attack, he's going to lose a place because Tom Gadd is coming round the outside of him into the S's to gain 4th place. It's the first ever race for the Low-Cost Championship on the Grand Prix circuit here at Donington Park. They've always raced on the national circuit, so this part of the circuit is new to the category, and it is Martin West who leads the way, and it is so close behind, isn't it? There's Sean Brame, he's gaining the place. Greg Smith is trying to do similar up the inside line. This is what Locost racing is all about, side-by-side racing. One of them got a bit sideways, but it is Martin West that leads the long line of them down into Goddard.
The one that got out of shape was the driver that's new from, well, stock hatch and then hot hatch. That's Rob Fragg, number 48, who was a little bit out of shape there coming out of the Melbourne hairpin. Leaders then are making their way over the line, but the red lights are on, the red flags are out, and the race, I'm afraid to say, is being stopped. There's been an incident somewhere around the circuit, out of our sight, I'm afraid, out of view of our cameras. So this first of two races today for the Team Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship is being brought to a premature conclusion, Josh, which is a great shame because it was looking like a very good start to the race.
Absolutely, looks like one of them's coming in. That's Glenn Boyer, who didn't really qualify, right at the back. So problems for him this morning, so I think that's more of a mechanical issue why he has come in. Unfortunately, Locost were a bit prone to this. Last year here at Donington Park were red flags, and we didn't even get to the end of lap one this time either, which is a real shame because they do put on such good racing, but there are times when the Locost races just get a little bit too close, and well, I guess that's going to happen, isn't it? 40-car grids and the racing is so close, but it's a real shame when it does happen because when we get full races, it is very exciting indeed.
Certainly is. So a little bit of clearing up to be done then before this race can get back underway. There'll be a car somewhere out of our sights. I can see one of the snatched tractors is making its way around the perimeter road in the general direction of Schwantz Curve.
I was going to say, we saw a car go off at Coppice, didn't we? But I can't see that car.
We've got a car on our screens. It's one of the novice drivers. I can't tell you who that is, but we can tell it's a novice driver from the black cross and the yellow background on the back of the car. It looks like it's gone pretty harmless, well, I say harmlessly, off on the gravel. It's harmful in the the way that it stopped the race, but that looks like probably is the reason for our race stoppage, that car off into the gravel. Now, the cars, I think, that had stopped on the grid are probably going to be sent back round to rejoin the back of the train and get them back into what will be the right order. Because we'd had less than 2 laps, we go back to the original grid, Josh.
Yes, and you mentioned earlier about how the lunch break was going to be shortened. Looks like that's going to be shortened even further now. We're due to get to racing underway in about half an hour after lunch, so
yes,
we shall see if that happens. We've got 5 races after lunch, by the way. We've got 1 race for everything we saw this morning, as well as the Club Enduro 2-hour race. That will begin proceedings after lunch, but we'll carry on with this Locost Championship race. So, as we were saying, it was Mark Burton, who sort of dominated last year, which we wouldn't have guessed before the year started, because he'd only done about 5 races, I think, before he came to Castle Combe to start the year off. I think he won the 2nd race of the day there and pretty much won at every track and won 9 times.
Yeah, I think he did the triple at Croft, didn't he? I think it was probably his biggest and best achievement of last year, and was run out by Locost standards a relatively comfortable winner of the championship. But no, it's been fascinating to see how he's developed. He's soon picked up the racecraft, and racecraft is so important. It's not just about driving quickly over a single lap, and he probably wasn't always the fastest person over a single lap last season, but he inevitably positioned his car in the right place at the right time, which is usually not leading going on to the final lap, but trying to take advantage of the slipstream and get through on that last lap when your opponents have got no chance to retaliate. But yeah, Mark Burton certainly did a very good job last season. And
unlike most drivers who come quick into car racing, he didn't come from karting, he came from sprint racing, which you don't need any racecraft for, I shouldn't think, because you're not racing against anybody directly.
Well, yeah, just the clock and just yourself, aren't you, on the sprints, on the speed events.
Absolutely. So he done a great job, didn't he? And he's back again.
Let's face it, he's in one of the most well-prepared cars on the grid, a top team as well, with the SRB behind him.
So this is good news, isn't it, for Murray Shepherd and Matt Groh, who didn't make the best starts, as you mentioned, and they get to take that front row positions back up again while this recovery is continuing.
That's very good news for them. Martin West will be a bit disappointed, I should think, that his great start has come to nothing. Big disappointment to him. One we've just got a moment, it's worth mentioning that you can contact us, and we're interested to hear what you've got to say via social media as well. On Twitter, the hashtag that we are using is 750MC Live. I can see that where is Ben Powney is a question that's being asked on YouTube. Well, Ben Powney has moved on from the Locost Championship to the new Mazda Locost category that Josh was mentioning, that's sharing a grid with Sports Specials during the course of this year. So Ben Powney not out in the main Locost Championship this year, but he'll be out in the Mazda Locost, which we'll see during the course of this season.
See more comments about the previous race. Josh Smith, how quick he is. And we've seen that in 750 Motor Club race in the past, haven't we? And we just haven't got the budget to move on to bigger and better racing. And Tim Gray, of course, who won the Bike Sport Championship a few years ago, he was a Locost champion. And he's done a bit of racing in Europe over the last few years and won that as well, won in Britcar. And 750 Motor Club has a real history of bringing top drivers through the categories, and some have moved on, some have gone on to win the British Touring Car Championship, of course.
Well, Ashley Sutton is the driver to whom you refer, and it's about a decade ago now that he was racing in the Formula V Championship, which he didn't win. Martin Farmer was the champion in the year that Ash Sutton raced in Formula V, but he nevertheless gained some very useful experience, which he then transferred into initially Fiestas. Then he had some time out of racing, didn't he, because of his car accident, before he came back in single-seaters in MSA Formula and Clio's as well, where he won the championship before moving to the BTCC. But no, Ash Sutton, one of many quick drivers, another driver that's a front runner in BTCC, of course, won the opening round of the championship at Brands Hatch 2 weekends ago, wasn't it? Josh Cook, of course. Yes, absolutely.
He was the Stock Cat champion the same year Ash Sutton was racing in Formula V, so that was a real year where we did have drivers that moved on. And as I mentioned, Locost has had drivers like Tim Gray and Scott Mattel, who have both gone on to win the RGB Championship within the 750 Motor Club. Of course, we saw Scott Mattel out in bike sports for the first time earlier, and Tim Gray a champion there. And Locost, really a place where lots of drivers start their racing because it is low-cost racing. It's a very much affordable, one of the most affordable way to get into racing, and you learn so much because the racing is so close, as we saw in that opening lap. And really, you learn, as Mark Burton did last year, you learn racecraft quicker than in any other category.
Absolutely right. It's a bit like NASCAR on a budget. I mean, the principle of this is very similar to Caterham racing, of course, and to the perhaps untrained eye, you're thinking these cars are rather Caterham-esque. They're all built to the design by Ron Champion, who published a book about this, How to Build Your Own Sports Car for as little as £250 brackets. Not really, it's usually a bit more than that. But that was originally based on his own design for a clubman's car back in the 1960s, I think it was. Fast forward 30 years and he brought his book out in the 1990s. Then a championship was made off the back of that, starting in 1999. I think we only had 6 cars on the grid for the opening round of the championship at Mallory Park. Simon Pollan, who went on to race in British GTs, was an early winner in the Low-Cost Championship.
You mentioned 6 cars. Was it at Mallory Park, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now there's 41 qualified here this morning.
But this has been fairly typical of the numbers that we've seen, you know, averaging in the mid to high 30s for a number of years in the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Low-Cost Championship. And what, as I say, is nice is that there is a flow of drivers that come through this. There's new drivers on the grid every year. Some of them impress, like Mark Burton has. Maybe some of them don't. but they all get a real taste of what is just about the most affordable motorsport you can get.
Well, you mentioned Rob Fagg having his first run in Low-Cost, the Stock Catch podium finisher. He qualified 7th. That was a good debut. I think the best of the new drivers might be Jonathan Lissetter there in 16th in one of the SRB cars, the Sam and Richard Bradley racing team. Sam Bradley, I don't think, works quite so much on the cars as he used to because he's a bit busy with Mercedes Formula 1.
Well, you usually play spot Sam Bradley on the television, don't you? On the Sky or the Channel 4 coverage, because, yeah, he's very much involved in the pit lane there.
And that's another thing about something like this. Drivers tend to build their own cars, and it's where you learn about the mechanics of race cars and all of that. And and you get not just drivers go on into other categories, but drivers go into employment working on the international racing stage. And I guess Sam Bradley is really one of the real people that we can say about that.
Absolutely. Of course, although some of these cars will have been self-built, many of them now have been proprietary built cars, and they're run as well by teams such as Team TSR, that's Team Sellers Racing, for Scott Sellers SRB, Richard Bradley's team as well. Anyway, we're close to getting this race back underway. We've just had the 1 minute to go board, and we will be back underway for a second time of asking. Hopefully it will be a good clean run this time through. We've got the last few cars just coming into position, so we should be almost ready for the off.
30-second board shown now, so the race will get away very shortly. Not sure if it'll go for a full distance. We'll see as we get on. So it's once again Murray Shepherd and Matt Groh on the front row.
It is, but it was Martin West that made the best of the starts to race number 1. Is he going to do the same? Is he going to go between the two front row men this time? So the 5-second board has been and gone. The red lights have gone on. They go out now, quite a long hold, and this time it looks like the best start's been made by the pole position driver. Actually, that's Murray Shepherd. Martin West certainly doesn't get between the two front row men this time. Mark Burton gets away a bit better than he did first time around. We'll see where he fits in, but it's Shepherd that looks like he's leading at the moment from the man from the outside of the front row, Matt Groh, in second place. So they're a bit close to grid order this time, I think, Josh.
Absolutely, they're still side by side, aren't they, the two front row men, Murray Shepherd and Matt Groh, but Groh slots in behind the leader Shepherd. Then it is West in third place. Once again...
what a big moment from Mark Burton there, the reigning champion, down through the craners. That probably has set off a bit of a chain reaction behind him. Carl Roycenaz, I think, was another driver to get onto the grass there.
And he's much, much further back than earlier. There's a tangle as well. That's Jeff Peake, is it, in the 29 car. He's through the gravel. The other was 17, which is Hobby Vickerman, another of the debut racers this weekend. But I think they've both continued. Leaders up in towards McLean's. There's car 15. That's Matt Groh. Martin West is behind, but it's still the leader, the pole man. It is Murray Shepherd. A few of them sideways out over the curbs there. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think, in the leading train through Coppice Corner. Yeah, and it is still Murray Shepherd that's out front then. Some gaps opening up a little bit further behind, but no very big gaps just at the moment. So they're making their way down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's for the first time. Touchwood, everyone has indeed made it through this time. Oh, well, that was tempting fate, wasn't it? Because that's Sean Brame that's gone off there, number 8. He's just pulled to the side, so hopefully we can continue. The leaders, well, it's all changed. It's Martin West that leads. That was the slipstream effect down towards the S's, but Murray Shepherd is fighting back. He's up at the inside. Looks like he's lost a mudguard in all of that, but he goes through back into the lead. Big challenge there. That was car 12, Tom Gadd. He gains a place at the back of this leading pack. Is Mark Burton, but Murray Shepherd, who led the start, he led the first half of the lap, didn't lead down into the S's, but he's got it back again as they come to complete the first lap. It's side by side for third, and hanging on around the outside there is Tom Gadd. So it's Matt Groh who's really lost out in the second half of this lap. We've gained more cars onto this 6-car group as well, haven't we? So it's Shepherd from West, from Gadd, then Groh, then it's the number 7 car of Tom Robinson, then it's Mark Burton, but then just behind him in 7th place is Peter Hatfield, who made that good start first time round, and then a small gap back to the Castle Coombe winner from last year, Greg Smith, in 8th place. But it's 7 cars then in the leading group, side by side for 2nd and 3rd as they made their way through there. Did we have a change, Josh? Absolutely we did, because Tom Gadd gained a place. He started 4th, he's now 2nd, he got past Martin West, and look at Tom Robinson in car number 7 trying to challenge there. He gained a place before getting into the Craner curves and tried to gain another, but couldn't do that. Into the old hairpin they come, so it is Murray Shepherd that leads his wide dough out over the curbs, as is Mark Burton. What's that, 10, 12 cars in this lead train. Great stuff as they make their way up towards Swartz Curve, and is Shepherd going to hang on? Well, he's just there at the moment. It's Gadd there in 2nd place, 2 drivers who I don't think have won in the championship before. Then in 3rd place is Martin West, who won for the first time at the last meeting last year at Snetterton. Yep, so will we have a new victor, or will it be someone that's done it before? Challenge going on there for 4th place. That's Tom Robinson up the inside of Martin West, who was leading before the red flag, to try and take 3rd place away from him. We'll try and find out whether he does that on the run down to the Fogarty S's, and the answer is that they are, well, he's not quite done it. Gap being left open on the inside now for number 1, Mark Burton, to come down the inside and take the place away. Does he from Tom Robinson, who's all over the gravel there at Fogarty S's, and yeah, that sealed the move for Mark Burton. He goes 4th. Absolutely, but it's car number 2 that still leads Murray Shepherd. He held on. He had Tom Gadd right pushing him down. A big dive there from Greg Smith. He gains 2 and he gets contact with the champion from last year. Mark Burton spins. Greg Smith pulls off. He's got damage. Mark Burton continues, but he's much further back. So what's that done to the leaders? Well, Murray Shepherd's losing the lead because Tom Gadd is coming round the outside of him. They're side by side further back too. That's Tom Robinson on the inside. But who's got the lead? Well, it's side by side still as they make their way off of the hairpin and just nosing in front is Tom Gadd. There's more cars off in the loop though, but let's watch the leaders down towards Redgate.
Yeah, side by side for the lead of the race then. It's the number 2 car on the outside line for Redgate corner. That is Murray Shepherd, the driver that was on pole position, but Tom Gadd has a look up the inside, can't make it work. But now running wide, and there is lots and lots of fluid pouring out of the number 88 car. That's Jack Chapman. Well, don't drive that car any further, I don't recommend, because that's going to pour fluid all over the circuit. There's dust being kicked up, I can see, at the Craner curves, and here's the 3-car battle for the lead. It's Gadd that's now in front, and Murray Shepherd's dropped back to 3rd place behind Martin West, so it's all happening, Josh.
You don't just slipstream down the straights in Locost, you slipstream through the Craner curves as well, and that's how Murray Shepherd lost a couple of places. Marshals are dealing with that car at the loop. We'll see what happens, but the leaders, they still battle. They don't know about this. Into McLean's they go, and holding on is car number 12, which is Tom Gadd. He qualified in 4th place. Out wide there is the pole man, that's Murray Shepherd. He's 3rd. He's just starting to lose time to the top 2. So it's Gadd and it's West. These were the 2 that got to the front in the earlier start as well, I think, wasn't it? So good running from the pair of them. There's still, what, 6, 7, 8 cars in fairly close proximity despite that contact on the previous lap. The Marshals have done a great job meanwhile in the loop, so we can continue to go racing down into the S's. It's car 12. It's Tom Gadd that leads.
It is almost a touch there, a little bit further back. That's between Carl Roycenars, number 84, and number 7, which is Tom Robinson. And that is for 4th and 5th places. Peter Hatfield having lost 5th place on that lap too. The blue car of Roycenars, the leaders then making their way down to the Melbourne hairpin.
See a few drivers just putting their arm out the cockpit, so the drivers behind know about the yellow flag. So it's all single file through the hairpin on this lap.
And there's 8 of them there now in the leading group, and that's even with losing a couple of them on the previous lap as well. So Tom Gadd has Martin West up the inside of him into the Goddard hairpin, and it looks like Martin West has gone through to take the lead of the race. Then it's Murray Shepherd there in 3rd, then Tom Robinson 4th. 5th at the moment, I think, is still Roycenars.
But there's going to be a challenge for the lead once again. Martin West led for a corner, but Tom Gadd wants him to lead no more because he comes up the inside in towards Redgate and he goes back through. So it's car 12 that leads once more. And really, the only driver in this leading train who was there regularly last year is Martin West.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the new order in low-cost racing.
And he's going to get the lead back again. So we've had 3 changes of lead in 3 corners. And here comes Murray Shepherd round the outside of the Craner curves. Is he going to run out of road? No. Is he going to gain a place? Yes, I think. Up the inside he goes.
Yeah, he does indeed. But then Gadd's going to try and fight back on the exit of the corner. We'll be on the outside line for the next corner. And this is allowing Tom Robinson, the number 7 car, to try and get up into the podium positions. Has he made it? We'll see when they arrive at Schwantz Curve. No, he's not. So it's Shepherd there, and then it is Gadd there in 3rd. Robinson is in 4th spot. Roycenars 5th. Is that Matt Groh now, I think, in 6th position, number 15, I think. We'll try and get a check on that in a moment, but they're turning their way through Coppice Corner now, still side by side for 3rd place, and Tom Gadd, I should say, almost getting a wheel over the dust.
This is what we were saying low-cost racing is all about. Great stuff over the first. We've only had 3 laps. It feels like a whole season's worth of overtaking in some categories. Down into the S as they come then. So it's West just starting to break away as everyone battled behind him on this lap. But it's not really a very big lead at all, is it? As they come out onto the Grand Prix loop of this Donington Park circuit now. And down they come. And who's going to challenge this time? It's side by side. That's Robinson looking to the outside of car number 2, Murray Shepherd. And Shepherd sideways. And that allowed Robinson to go up to 2nd. Tom Gadd might come through too, but they're back on the tail of the leader once again. So that lead, half a second or so that Martin West had, didn't last long. It's going to be 3 wide, is it? Nope, it's going to be side by side as Robinson comes through. A bit of a tag there was there from Murray Shepherd, so out of the hairpin they come, and it's Robinson that leads. It's side by side behind him though, as they complete lap number 4 of this race. Here comes Tom Gadd as well. It is going to be 3 wide into Redgate. Is it going to be 4 abreast as they slipstream up towards Tom Robinson? But it's Murray Shepherd who got the real run using the slipstream. He goes up the inside. Is he going to get past Robinson? Not quite, I don't think. Fabulous stuff from the low-cost championship.
But immediately Murray Shepherd tries to fight back then on the way down through the Craner curves. He's got his nose back in front of Tom Robinson, who had a 4/10 for second lead at the beginning of this lap. Gadd has gone through to second place as well in the number 12 car. Then you've got Robinson, then Martin West in number 94. Still, any one of these 4, or even 7 drivers, I think, could probably win this race. It's the number 2 car of Shepherd, though, at the moment, but good pace being shown there by Robinson, as he did on the previous lap out there. But no, he's got another car alongside him now. He's got Martin West up on the inside of him. That's then the outside line for McLean's. West has gone through to 3rd place then, and now it's the number 43 car, I think, of David Mason that's putting the pressure on Tom Robinson. They go 3 wide into Coppice Corner, and it's Royce and Ars in the blue car with the yellow roll cage, number 84. That, wow, I thought he was just about going through to 4th place there. Did he make that stick? We'll find out as they come down the exhibition straight. The answer is no, I don't think. He's now back into 5th place.
Challenge for the lead, though. Martin West looks to the outside of Murray Shepherd and breaks much, much later and goes round the outside into the Faculty S's to get the lead back. So it's West from Shepherd. He's at 3 leaders at least on this lap alone. The leader, the beginning of the lap, was Tom Robinson. He's there, I think, in 4th place. Here comes Shepherd looking to the outside of West. Is that going to allow Tom Gadd up the inside? Was he looking up there, Shepherd? He gets as close as he dares. He's sideways, and that's going to allow Gadd up the inside. West is slow off the corner as well. Who's going to lead into Goddard's on this, the 5th lap of the race? It is going to be West in 2nd place when it's 3 wide this time. Up the inside is Murray Shepherd. He breaks desperately late. He's side by side with Tom Gadd. Tom Robinson is behind.
Now, Mark Burton, the champion, has got himself back up to 9th, but he's now going to see the driving standards flag, presumably for exceeding track limits. He's been trying to get back on terms with this leading group, which is led by Martin West at the moment from Murray Shepherd in 2nd place, and 3rd is Tom Robinson.
Fastest lap to Louis Wall. He started at the back. He's up to 9th place. So Louis Wall, who had problems in qualifying this morning, is flying. He may well get into this leading pack, and he's lapping over half a second quicker than the rest.
Yeah, and of course, whatever lap time is set is a new lap record. But look at this, there's 5 of them occupying the space of 1 Locost, basically, as they turn their way through Craner curves that time. It is West at the moment that is in front. Gadd has gone backwards to 4th place. But yeah, there's Louis Wall. You just saw him going through shot now. Depending on how much longer we've got left in this race, we've had nearly 11 minutes, then we could see Wall at least in the lead group. But I think a win might be just a little bit too far for him.
And Mark Burton is right there as well, so they could work together here. But let's see, let's watch the leaders. They exit McLean's. How many abreast are they this time up towards Coppice? Well, it's 2 wide at least in the middle of them. I thought it was more than that for a moment, but it's Murray Shepherd that leads in 2nd. Both of the leaders have run desperately wide through Coppice Corner, but Shepherd holds on. Here they come, 1 long line of Locost. You can hardly see them all. They're so close to one another. Right in the slipstream of Murray Shepherd, almost pushing him down the straight, I think, is Martin West. They turn into the corner. Next up is Tom Robinson, and they have to be very careful not to go through the gravel there, because they're braking as desperately as late as they dare into that part of the circuit. Down towards the hairpin they come. Who's going to challenge here? Nobody, quite possibly. They're leaving it to the last lap, Ian.
Absolutely, Shepherd goes very wide. Big mistake from Shepherd there at the hairpin. Now is running over the dirt on the way back up towards Goddard. So that is Martin West, who needed no second invitation. But West's going to lose out himself here, surely. Under braking for Goddard. Tom Robinson overlaps, but can he get through? He's still overlapping now. They're coming up and over the line. Black and white driving standards flag going out to number 96 now. Pick up who that is in a minute. So it is West still leading from Robinson Alley. Tom Gadd 4th. Matt Grove 5th. David Mason 6th. Then Carl Roycenars, Rob Fagg, Louis Wall and Mark Burton round out the top 10.
And a challenge, of course, into Redgate up the inside. Murray Shepherd, who went off just 2 corners ago. He's trying to challenge for the lead again. He was 3rd across the line. He's 2nd into Redgate. He might be 1st by the time they get down to the old hairpin, because he's right on the tail of Martin West. He draws alongside Martin West. They're side by side behind as well. That's Tom Gadd and Tom Robinson. They're side by side behind them. That's David Mason and Matt Grow. What's going to happen into the old hairpin? Well, round the outside of Murray Shepherd goes Tom Robinson. A fantastic move there to get into 2nd place. What a race this has turned out to be from the Locost Championship. We didn't know what to expect with a new circuit or a new layout for the championship, but it's been absolutely brilliant. Up towards McLean's they come.
Yeah, 96 Jonathan Higgins was the driver that was getting the black and white driving standards flag, but he's nowhere near this leading group, which is making its way out of McLean's up towards Coppice Corner now. I still wouldn't really know where to put my shilling on this, because the places are changing almost every corner of every lap, aren't they? It's absolutely fantastic stuff. Saying that's a bit more of a gap now between the first two and the rest of the leading group, which are making their way down the exhibition straight. And it's Tom Robinson. Is he in the right place at the right time? Because he pulls out of Martin West's toe, has a look up the inside and takes the lead of the race on the way down to the Fogarty S's.
Behind it's Murray Shepherd that holds on there, and if they start battling, that really will allow the top two to get away in these final stages of this Demon Tweeks and Yokohama supported Locost Championship race, the opening round of the season. Down into the Melbourne hairpin they come. Who's going to challenge? It looks like there's one long line, but look at the back of the group now, because we are seeing Louis Wall and Mark Burton join in to make it 9-10, I think, for the lead, as we should go on to the last lap. The last lap board is being prepared, so it'll be one lap to go.
Side by side for third place there. Tom Gadd getting ahead of Murray Shepherd as they made their way through, but the leaders now have got about a second gap. This is Tom Robinson in the lead, Martin West in second, then it's a gap back to Tom Gadd in third, Murray Shepherd fourth, fifth is Matt Groves, sixth is David Mason. Louis Wall now up to seventh place in the black car with the orange roll hoop. Can the rest of them catch the two leading cars in the final, well, just under 2 miles left of this race now? They're turning their way through the Craner curves, down through Hollywood, and we've got one in the gravel. That is the number 66 car, so Paul Williamson is out of the race, but here come the leaders down towards the old hairpin for the final time, and Tom Robinson is, well, looking relatively untroubled by Martin West at this point, Josh.
Yeah, I think it's two battles now, really, isn't it? This is the battle for third. Murray Shepherd. Here comes Matt Grow up the inside of the Tom Gadd car, but the leaders, they appear in shot first. Do we watch them or do we watch the cars behind? It's so hard to tell. It's Shepherd there in third. Up the inside, is that Louis Wall in 44? It is, so he's gaining more places. He's now up into sixth, I reckon, behind David Mason. Up towards Coppice they come. This third place battle is very frantic. Is Martin West thinking, though, where's the last place to challenge? I think it could be any three of the last corners.
Absolutely. You don't want to go too early, though, do you? That is the real risk in this kind of racing. Is he going to make an attack down into the Fogarty? Yes, maybe we'll look for the Dayglow roll hoop in the background, see if Louis Wall can make up places. Martin West is having a look down the inside, and that didn't look to me like Tom Robinson was making all that hard for him there into the Fogarty. Yes, so is he going to fight back in one of the final two corners? Now they're heading down towards the Melbourne hairpin for the final time. Of course, there's still a big toe to be gained there. Robinson to the outside line. Martin West driving pretty much up the middle of the road, takes quite an early apex. Oh, and there comes Murray Shepherd out of nowhere. Very out of shape again. It's taken David Mason with him. They are third and fourth, so Tom Gadd has dropped back to about sixth place now. So here come the leaders up towards Goddard for the final time. It's Robinson that's out in front at the moment. Can Martin West come back around the outside? He might be able to, you know, they're overlapping still. Up to the finish line they come, and it's going to be Martin West that does it just on the line for what's that, a third successive win in the Demon Tweeks and Yokohama Low-Cost Championship. He's done the hat-trick, two at the end of last year, one at the beginning of this year, after not getting a win at all for goodness knows how many low-cost races he did. He's won it by 0.16 seconds, as much as that, from Tom Robinson. Murray Shepherd was third, David Mason fourth, Matt Grove fifth, and Tom Gadd sixth. I'm going to have a quick lie down, Josh.
Tom Robinson had two feelings as he crossed the line. You could see he was very disappointed. Then he congratulated the winner, Martin West. I think all of them would have enjoyed that very much indeed. We certainly did. Absolutely brilliant. Don't think we looked at the rest, because the lead battle was, I think that was as frantic as it's been for a long time in the Low-Cost Championship, and it looked like very clean as well. Really good racing within the top 10.
No, and it's worth pointing out some notable performances. I mean, Louis Wall from the back of the grid to seventh. That's an exceptional performance. He's been a winner in the past, so he's no slouch. We know that. And did he get the fastest lap in the end as well, which would be the lap record?
1:59.31, and that was half a second quicker than anyone else.
Yeah, so Louis Wall, no surprise. Mark Burton, in spite of that incident with Greg Smith, which looked a little bit optimistic on the part of Smith, I thought, came back to 9th place, so not a disaster as far as the championship's concerned. You can drop some scores at the end of the year. Rob Fagg 10th on his debut in the category, having switched over from tin-top racing, so something a little bit different, rear-wheel drive, of course. Then you've got Paul Clark and Gary Brandon 11th and 12th.
I think for Rob Fagg, it's the type of racing that's going to be the real thing to learn, isn't it? He might be a bit of an eye-opening experience in that lot, because that was as close as any racing comes. We had 3 pairs of cars side by side down the Craner curves on one lap, and that's sort of unspeakable, isn't it? Going side by side down the Craner curves, let alone three pairs as close as you like. And As you say, Martin West will be absolutely delighted with coming out on top, but it could have been any 10 of them, and we get another race at the end of the day to look forward to, and that is very much a reason to stay on the Alpha live stream today.
Absolutely do. Keep your eye on the stream all day. We've got the Club Enduro, which is the main feature, coming up in the not too distant future, but it is the Demon Tweeks Yokohama Locost Championship that have put on a great show. Martin West showing his appreciation to the marshals on his slowing down lap there in the number 94 car, having taken a great victory from Tom Robinson in second place, and there's a rather unhappy looking driver there, having retired. I think that was the 88 car of Jack Chapman that we're seeing there. Yep, there's his car, prone up against the barrier there. And we lost, of course, Greg Smith's car on the other side of the circuit as well, just underneath the hospitality suites during the course of that race.
Great to see loads of comments on the live stream who have just seen a Locost race for the first time, and everyone's very much enjoying it. So we're very pleased that you could all join us today to see such good racing, not just from the Locost, all day with the 750 Motor Club, of course. So the cars make their way down the pit lane, and Jacob will await for them on the podium. They'll take a few moments to get up there. Of course, Martin West, Tom Robinson and Murray Shepherd, the top three from the first round of the championship. I think it's a 16-round season for Locost in 2019. There's a couple of triple headers in there as well for the competitors to look forward to. And if you head to 750mc.co.uk, you can get all the information about all the championships. You want to get involved in racing, that's the best way to do it. Lots of information on there. Come along to a meeting. Everybody's very friendly in the paddock and very much would like you to get involved.
Absolutely right. So we've got the leading drivers. I'm just reminding myself who the top three were in the end after all that. Third place was Murray Shepherd. He's down there. Hopefully so too. Number 7, Tom Robinson, and our race winner, number 94, Martin West. And they will be hopefully shepherded in the general direction of the podium, where I can see Leanne Fahey's waiting there with garlands, and Jacob Harris is there as well, ready to greet the drivers just as soon as they make their way up the stairs at the end of that. So I'm sure they'll have some stories to share with each other, and hopefully with Jacob after that race. So Jacob, it's all yours.
Thank you, guys. We are awaiting our top three down here on the podium. A fantastic race, that. Well, first time I've seen a low-cost race, and it did not disappoint. Non-stop action. I don't know how you keep up in the commentary box. You guys must be bending over backwards and taking a breath up there. Race winner Martin West joins me here on the podium. Martin, that was tense right to the end.
Oh, you should have been where I was sitting. It was a little bit more tense than that. Yeah, no, that was a brilliant race. That's what it's all about. We have a few problems in Locost with big grids, as you can see with the red flags, but when we get a good run at it like that, it's pretty entertaining in the car. So I'm guessing to watch it must be pretty good as well. But no, that was a pretty epic last lap. But
just how does it feel to clinch it coming out of the very last corner of the race?
Well, I could have had him a couple of times around the track, but I just wanted to bide my time because I knew if I got past him too early, he's just going to come sailing straight past. But yeah, so it was it's one of them, you're sort of trying to work it out as you're driving around at the same time. But the last corner, I thought, right, there's a big gap behind us. I'll see if I can get around the outside. And luckily the car's stuck, and here we are.
Ideal. And I was just saying, it's the first time I've seen low-cost racing. Can we expect to see more of the same this afternoon?
Oh yeah, there's no fun in being 30 seconds a minute up the road racing on your own. You can't get away. That's why I love it. You'll be the same every single race. You know, if you get 2 or 3 car lengths, then there's been a knock somewhere, but within a lap you're caught back up again, and well, as you can see, it's pretty thrilling racing.
It really was. Congratulations on your race win, and thank you very much for talking to us. Next up, I believe we have Tom Robinson, is it? Tom, leading for many parts of that, but unfortunately just falling short at the end.
Yeah, I couldn't get in second gear at that final hairpin. So it's a bit gutting, but there you go. Need to get a new gearbox.
Just how tough is it racing so closely at the front? Obviously, you found, I think one lap you were crossing the line first and found yourself fourth before you'd even got halfway around to the Craner Curves.
Well, there's a lot of accidents in this, and just trying to be a little bit careful. So when you do see people going mad, I think one person came past me and straight into the gravel over there, almost backwards. So you just got to be very aware of all the cars that are around you, and it's not worth, being stupid and not finishing.
Just how hard is it to keep track of your competitors coming up the inside, coming around the outside, as we had there at the end, and finding your braking points in these corners?
You can normally hear them, because you can hear them locking up. if you're locking out, you know they're pretty much going to come past you, and then you can cut in the inside and be quicker than them on the exit. But yeah, no, that was an amazing race. One of my favourite, apart from the last corner, of course.
And obviously, second place after that last corner. Can you get one better this afternoon?
Hopefully, never say never. It'd be nice to get a win. Just feeling a little bit gutted not winning that one. But he did a great race. So, congratulations.
Brilliant. Thanks for talking to us, Tom. And last but not least, I believe we have Mr. Murray Shepherd. Murray, talk us through the race from your perspective.
Well, it's always tricky starting on pole because the only way is backwards. So I did as best as I could. I mean, Westy was pretty unlucky with the first red flag because he had a flyover start, and I was pretty lucky with the red flag because I got on the pace the second time round, and we had a great tussle up front, always swapping and changing. That's what Locost racing is all about. So yeah, very happy to bring the car home in third.
Yeah, and can we expect to see you on the podium in the race too later this afternoon?
Hopefully, yeah. I'll try my best.
Anything you're going to change on the car? Anything you're going to try and do differently later on?
Well, in qualifying, I lost a tyre, and so we switched it to Tim kindly in the paddock lent me his old tyre from 2016, so that's on the rear left, so I was getting crazy oversteer. So we'll try and find maybe a bit of a stickier tyre and go from there.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for the chat, and look forward to seeing you again this afternoon. Right, that is it for the first round of races here at Donington Park this afternoon. We're going to go into a short break now, roughly an hour long. When we come back, we'll have the 2-hour endurance race plus another round of all the races you've seen so far. But for now, stay with us, grab a bit of lunch, and come back in an hour. We'll see you then.